There are days like today, which makes it all worth it. This is why we're sports fans. This is why we love basketball. We love sports. It's for games and moments like this. Let's talk about it. Wisconsin beats Michigan State. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers. I'm your host, Ryan Herrings. We got Rajiv over there.
Let's go.
Locked On Podcast Network. So grateful to have everybody here. Wisconsin beats Michigan State, avenges another loss in a great, incredible game. We are obviously talking about all that today. Get a bunch of your comments. Today's episode brought to you by TurboTax. If you're ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed, head over to TurboTax.com today and get matched with your expert. Oh, Rajiv, let's go.
I mean, geez, dude. But look, all right. Michigan State's a really, really good team. Like, I want to remind everybody that at the end of the season, whenever we were kind of expecting 4 or 5 losses to win the conference, Michigan State never lost again. They just dominated the end of the season. They've been putting teams away until they play us. Revenge tour continues. UCLA, check. Michigan State, check. Maryland or Michigan, that's going to be another check. Fantastic game. Just unbelievable. There's so many good things to talk about, but let's just start big picture. Like, that is amazing. You talk about mojo. You talked a lot about mojo recently. That mojo right there is how you go to the NCAA tournament. We talked about this game pretty much being a no-lose situation. You win. All you're doing is helping yourself out. We just helped ourselves out. We locked ourselves on the 3 line, and believe this, everybody better watch out. This team absolutely has potential. Like, this is the kind of game, the locking in, the defending when we needed to. Unbelievable performance. Can't wait to get into this. Can't wait to talk about it. Let's go.
Dude, I am so high right now in cloud. Like, I am, dude, I just can't. There's a term I have, and I haven't pulled it out in a while because I haven't been able to. There's a term I have called campfire games, where 40 years from now, I'm going to be sitting around a campfire on a beach somewhere telling my kids and grandkids about great Badger games, great games of my team. This is a campfire game to me. We will gather around roast marshmallows, and I will tell them about the Gilmore block, and I will tell them where I was. This is a campfire game for me. We're going to get into the good, the mid, the ugly, as always, and then player of the game. But I want to make this a lot about the community, so I want to get a bunch of your comments on this show. I do want to do this because we haven't played this guy in a minute, and he deserves some runtime right now.
This is awesome. It's a good day for me. Come on in here, buddy. Get up on that line.
Okay, let's start with the good, the mid, the ugly. My good is just Gilmore. Yep. And I owe Mr. Gilmore an apology. I owe Mr. everybody. Like I said, I think he's done shooting the ball. I think he is done. I think he just needs to do the little things. He banged 2 threes today, including an enormous shot. Like, I owe him an apology for that. He was incredible. But aside from that, 10 points, the 2 threes, whatever. That's the block of the year. It's not Gilly James, it's Gilly Mutombo. That is an incredible play. To not only recover, make that block in the biggest moment of the game, but to not foul him, get off to the side. How many people run a guy over? And by the way, what a great set by Michigan State. I thought they were just going for a quick 2. They set that up for the trailing 3 the entire way from a big time clutch player in a hallway. And Gilmore helped, recovered, blocked it at the apex. It's one of the defensive plays of the year, of the career. Hell yeah, that's my good. Carter Gilmore.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Let's also say he had 3 blocks, by the way, like 3 blocks today. And they were big. They were all big. Just an incredible performance. Like, and you know what, him hitting, because I think the first shot he made was actually a 2. I'm pretty sure it was like a something in the lane. When that fell, I'm like, okay, that's good. Get some points there. Production. I immediately thought that, Ryan's been complaining about not getting production from Janicki and Gilmore. Well, Gilmore got it. Then he hits a 3, and he's a guy that plays with that confidence, right? Like, as soon as he has that, he's like, okay, I can play now. I'm not going to go into my shell and be worried about it. I'm just going to do my thing. And when he plays free and open like that, look what he does. Like, just an incredible performance. My good is obviously Gilmore, but it's just the fight in this team. The killer instinct that this team has, like that is really impressive. Michigan State does this all the time. They're really good about just punishing teams at the end of the game, like really imposing their will late. Now, we did that. Like, we made those big shots. And yes, couple bad missed free throws there at the very end, but then the defensive plays by both Gilmore and Tonje at the end, which, by the way, completely clean, unbelievable little, that's risky, but hey, it worked. And you got to come up with crazy, really good killer instinct plays to beat a team like that. And you're going to have to do that again when the Sweet 16 after we get there, because we're going to get there. And that's the kind of performance we need. So my good is just an all-around fight, man. What passion that this team gave. Like, we were all like, I mean, in the Discord, I was like standing, pacing. I've been pacing for the last hour, stepping over my daughter's toys. Like, it's what a great performance, dude. This is what we live for. This is the kind of stuff, man. All of it. I love it all. So good. It's all good. It's just all good.
Yep. This is why we're sports fans. Wasted potential. Get up on that line. Hunter Milky threes. Pedro says he hit Gilmore heard all the disrespect. David said Tonje's so smooth. Ben, best defense we've played all year. There's so many good comments. Again, I want to make a ton of this about comments. Let's get into the mid. My mid, what I have written down here. I still think it's dribble penetration. Now, I will say, at about the 10-minute mark in the first half, our defense tightened way up. Mm-hmm. But there's still moments, man, where you can just tell this team really does miss just a Gasser type, just a really defensive-oriented perimeter guy who will just lock somebody up. A Michael Flowers, a Gasser, we don't have that. And there's moments where Michigan State took advantage of it. I think it's just who we are. It's fine. Like, there's not a fix to it. I thought the players for the most part played pretty well, but dribble penetration to me is still an issue.
I agree with you, but I disagree with you. I think that is actually, I put it in my sort of good column because of the improvement that I saw over yesterday. Like, I thought we really did have pretty good dribble penetration defense for a while. Like, you saw, like, Richardson couldn't really get in there. Akins couldn't really get in there. Like, we were playing really, I'm not saying it was great, but better than we normally play. And I think I would say that for me, it's two things. Again, which is who we are. You say this all the time, like the rebounding in key situations. My goodness, like can we just grab the thing? Can we block out a little tougher? Can we be this much tougher than the other team? Now, we were in a lot of sense today, but not necessarily rebounding. My other mid, and it's hard to complain about anything after a game like that, but boy, like, the one time in the second half, and I'm like feverishly texting Ryan and Justin, like, can we post up? Can we go into the lane a little bit here? There was really no reason why Crowl wasn't posted up more. They were playing 5 out, but guess what? Second half, when he actually did it, no problem. He just made a hook shot. I just think that in key times, now listen, I'm not going to complain because we won, but in key times, we have to be able to go to that when we need to. We have to be able to set up a play like that because we know how prolific Crowl can be offensively in the post. And I wish we would have done that a little bit more. So that's a mid. It's not a bad. It's just kind of I want to go to a little more. I'm not sure why Gard did that, but again, we won, so I'm not really going to complain. But that is something where, like, look, we could have easily lost this game by a point, and that would have been really upsetting. This is something that I think we need to go to more.
Yeah, and the counter to that, because I generally agree. Like, they ran a really nice post ISO to Crowl later in the game, and he got an easy bucket. I do think we need to hit that more. I agree. The counterpoint to that I think sometimes maybe goes a little under discussed, and I was thinking about this during the game. The Badgers made a point to get Blackwell and Tonje going downhill. You can't do that if Crowl's in the lane, because if Crowl's in the lane, then the other big is in the lane. So there were moments where they went small, and I think their game plan to attack the paint today, and you can agree or disagree with it, but their game plan wasn't post, it was slashing. And it's harder to slash with the big down there. So I think they made a conscious decision to say, this is how we're going to attack it. And for the most part, I thought Blackwell and Tonje got in the paint that way. So I don't know. I do think there's a better balance there that we haven't found. I do think you have to hit Crowl more. But I can see what they were doing, at least. I can see the intention behind it.
Yeah, and I think for me, like, I'm okay with that, but I just want there to be a little more multiplicity to it. Like, there are times when you don't have to run that slashing play, and you don't have to have 5 out, and you can do something different just to mix it up. If nothing else, just to mix it up. Like, mixing it up. We mixed it up on that zone, on that 1-3-1 zone. That was a mixing up. I like mixing things up. I want to change things a little bit, because at times, like, Michigan State's really good defensively. Now, again, like I said, the game plan worked. Tonje had the game of his life, but, like, I just want a little bit more of that.
And 715 Badger Nation, Ryan, I know you like Crowl, but at times the most frustrating player on the floor missed that layup. Can't happen when you're 7 foot. That missed layup he had off Gilmore's incredible whirling dervish pass, that's inexcusable. Like, I love Crowl, but I'll also call it like it is. He has to finish that in that moment. That was inexcusable. Yep. Let's hit the bad. The bad to me is actually your mid. It's the rebounding. You cannot, when you're playing – when you have really good teams, Michigan State's a really good team. You're going to play really good teams in March. you cannot give up 2 offensive rebounds off missed free throws. It's when there's big games and they come down to the wire, those are the type of plays that lose you games. Offense, you can't give up offensive rebounds off missed free throws. You just can't. One of them led to a 4-point possession. Another one led to an empty possession for Michigan State, but those are game-losing plays. Crowl does need to do a better job boxing out in those moments. And that's my bad. You can't give up rebounds off free throws.
For sure. And some of them were long. So I would say like some of those times it's just unlucky. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Listen, I want to my bad. I'm going to talk about the refereeing. I can't right now with this. Like we won. So there's a little bit of joy, but get the heck out of here with this dead ball technical BS. Are you kidding me with that? Like, so let me get this straight. Izzo can just call for a review because it's in the restricted arc, which he wasn't in the restricted arc. He put his foot into Blackwell's space before. That is 100% a block, 100% of the time. Blackwell gets the call. He tosses the ball in the direction of that player. So that is a dead ball technical. Oh, but every time someone is doing this, someone is shouting at the crowd, someone is staring down a player, none of those are dead ball technicals. But Blackwell tossing the ball in the direction of the player on the floor is a dead ball technical. After the same official gave us a dead ball technical yesterday. Stop it. Just stop it with that. Like, that's ridiculous. I cannot understand how it takes that many minutes. Gene Steratore is watching it on TV too. Like, he has the same screens we do. He has the same screens they do. They're deciding it quickly. You're breaking up the game. You're breaking up play. It doesn't make sense. And if you can just say, you know what? It was a block. Correct. He was outside of the restricted arc. That's done. You don't need to litigate everything past that, because if you're going to do that when you stop it, you can't do it when it's live. You can't litigate something just because you're at the screen. You go to the screen to check what you were going to check. They check the restricted arc. He's not in the restricted arc. It's a block. If you're going to go beyond that, now every foul call, you then have to go and look beyond that because someone else could have done something that was technical worthy. That's ridiculous. That has to get out of basketball. It's completely unfair. And it broke up the game. Luckily, it didn't cost us the game. But what is that? Really? Back-to-back days with dead ball technicals? Get out of here with that crap.
Yeah, that's well said. I do want to give the refs a bit of a credit because they did tee up who's his fears later in the game, Holloman, for a dead ball technical. So okay, and they didn't call a foul on that last shot, which I think some refs might have fallen for. So I want to give the refs some credit for some, but that moment was inexcusable. I agree, and also everything you said is correct. But also these are young men. Let them play. Like, I've watched so much basketball in my life. I've played basketball. I've coached some basketball. If it doesn't look egregious live, it's not a big deal. What you're doing is you're going to the replay and you're finding things. And you can find something on every play. He dropped the ball at his feet, and I think he was intentional. I think he kind of threw it, but it's also not a big deal. Like, understand this is a big game, a big moment. It's not egregious. And guess what? They're big boys. They'll be okay. He didn't chuck it at his face. He dropped it kind of in his direction. It's not a technical. Refs need to get over themselves. This is not about you. It's not about you. It's not. For the second game in a row, you are making yourselves the center of attention, and it's embarrassing. It's not about you. You're disrupting the flow of the game. Stop it. Just stop it. Let them play. There was nothing there. There's nothing technical there. So, yeah, I agree. We do have to take a quick break because we're past our break moment, but I'll probably get yelled at later for that. But we do have to take a quick break. I want to come back and talk about that Tonje play. Incredibly gutsy. I don't think it was the smart move. We're going to come back and talk about that next on Locked On Badgers. See if Rajiv and our disagrees or agrees with me on that one. That's coming up next, Locked On Badgers. First, a quick break for friends of the show, great friends of the show over at Nissan. Listen, Nissan is awesome. They're phenomenal. And every March we get to kind of talk about the great things they do. They're all about the stats because numbers don't lie. And the scoreboard certainly doesn't lie today either. When it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X, the numbers are on an MVP level with the ability to up to 8,500 pounds. It can quite literally carry the whole team, which, again, that's also what John Tonje has been doing lately, plus the gear wherever you need to go. It's powered by the twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with room for up to 8 people, the Armada PRO-4X is built for big crews, big adventures, even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, Armada PRO-4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights with the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Today's episode also brought to you by our great friends over at FanDuel. Rajiv, man, is this influencing you to put some money on the Badgers coming into March?
Oh, you better believe it, buddy. You better believe it. It's absolutely influencing me. And remember, FanDuel has so many options too. It's not like you can do in-game parlays. You can all parlays all over the board. It's not just about the same sport. It's anything you want to do. So many options. And March Madness, remember, the games tip off all at the same time. You can go all day long with the in-game stuff, and you better believe we're going to be doing that.
And right now, great offer, $150 in bonus bets if you hit your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, let's get back into this. I want to talk about that sequence at the end. Rajiv, what did you think of, let's start with the Gilmore play, which leads then into the Tonje missed free throws, which then leads into the, I would say, kind of aggressive defensive play at the end by the Badgers.
Yeah, just not ideal. And make your free throws, and it's a done discussion. I think that, and when you miss the first one, it's really bad, right? Because then you're trying to overcorrect. And first of all, the Gilmore block, we talked about it, just an unbelievable play, like unbelievable to get out there to block the shot. And as you mentioned, not foul. At that moment of the game, you think, okay, we're good. He missed the free throws. The bottom line, he missed the free throws. So it's at 6 seconds left. Now, if it's me, I'm saying you foul right away. You don't even let, because now you're under 6 seconds. You don't even let him dribble up the court. Like, I would have gone and fouled him when he was rebounding the free throw. That's just what I would have done personally. The play was magical, right? I mean, he hit the ball. It was absolutely a clean play and a very good no call. And any Michigan State fan who's screaming right now, if they watch the replay, they saw it too. They know it's a non-call. But yeah, man, I mean, dude, like 9 times out of 10, that foul's getting it called, whether it was one or not. And the best free throw shooter on their team is shooting 3 free throws, and we're going to overtime where we have more foul trouble and we're not winning that game. I don't love that play, but it worked. So in the end, it's going to be fine. But if it didn't work and we were sitting here after a loss, we'd be picking that apart. So I'm going to pick it apart anyway and say, you got to foul the guy right away. There is no reason with under 10 seconds left to not just foul him before he's ever in a shooting motion.
Yeah, I'll just be honest. I don't like the attempt by Tonje there. And I love Tonje. We're not in this game without Tonje. We're not close to in this game without Tonje. I thought that was a bit of a reckless play, because if you're shooting, listen, Badger fans know that shot can go in against you. We've seen that shot go in against us in a game against Florida. That's still a low percentage 3. I just don't want to reach in there, because there's a very good chance you're going to get a foul whether you deserve it or not. I would rather in that moment you just contest, get out of the way, and see if he makes that's maybe a 5 to 10% shot. I don't love the play. In terms of fouling, I was okay with it, with not fouling, only because I've seen us once again struggle to get the ball in bounds. If you foul, they hit 2 free throws, then you got to inbounds it. And we had just missed 3 out of 4 free throws, right? Like Winter missed 1 too. So I look at it like we're not hitting our free throws right now. I don't know why. It's the best free throw shooting team in the doggone country until you freaking need it, right? Bro, my reaction to Tonje missing those free throws, I'm literally sitting here getting ready to do this. I'm like, ice, this guy's so good. And then I fell out of my chair when he missed 2. So I don't, in this moment, contextually, I don't want to foul because I don't trust us to get the ball in and hit free throws. That's where I was at.
That's a fair point. I mean, it's interesting. Like, I was watching the game, obviously, and after the Tonje, after he got that block and the game ended, I was like kind of in shock. I wasn't sure what happened. My wife was like, why aren't you celebrating? And I'm like, because I don't even know what just happened. Like, was it a foul? Was it not? Did they blow it? Like, I was so confused. And then, of course, they're just going crazy. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, if he just walls up there, verticality, they're not calling it if you just stand there. He was already kind of going into shooting motion. I think he didn't need to shoot like that far out. There was time on the clock. He could have gone a little further. So I wonder if he would have kind of gone around Tonje. But yeah, risky play. And the thing is, that easily could have been called. Same replay, would have been all ball. We would have had a case, but that's not a reviewable play, or you can't review that play. So it is very risky, but it worked out for us. But it's a teaching moment. It's a teaching moment, right? For sure. But let's talk about John Tonje a little bit. Player of the game, obviously, right? I mean, come on, dude. Like 15 field goals, by the way. And he had 32 points off of 15 field goals because he got to the line. 12 of 14. The only 2 shots he missed were the only ones that he needed to make, sadly. 4 of 10 from 3. I mean, as a team, we shot 31% from 3. Not good, but obviously against that team who defends the 3 really well. But man, like, he was unconscious today. Like, Every time we needed a big bucket, he just took over. He was winded, he was gassed, but he didn't stop. Like, it was whether it's taking a three, whether slashing to the lane, getting fouled, like, he had a plan. He executed it. He didn't let the fact that this is one of the best defensive teams in the country stop him. He just dropped 32 on him. And that's how you beat a team like that. And that's the kind of mentality you need going into March. We will need Tonje to do that again to win one of these games we're going to play. And that's an incredible performance. That is the kind of performance that elevates you to, yeah, this is an NBA guy. Like, this is that star power that you just don't have in other players. And sometimes Blackwell just doesn't have that killer instinct. John Tonje does. Absolutely incredible performance from him today, man.
Yeah, the hero of the game, no doubt. This was a Johnny Davis type performance. In that year where Johnny Davis would go to Penn State and he would drop 40 or 37 and also get like 8 rebounds. This felt like that type of game where Tonje just put it on his back. And those are tough shots, man. If I think I put this in the Discord. I'm watching Michigan State play defense, and he is hitting fadeaway, turnaround, 17-foot baseline jumpers. He's getting in the paint, this whirling dervish. Then he's banging step-back threes with people on him. And I'm just like, this is the type of performance. If I'm a Michigan State fan, I'm bald at the end of the game because I've ripped all my hair out. How do you guard this dude if he's shooting like that? He was incredible. Now, he needs help. That's the other thing I was kind of putting in the chat. Like, Blackwell was okay. I want to talk about Blackwell after the break. He needs more help. Crowl needs to play better. Winter needs to give you a little bit more. Carter came up today, but Janicki needs to give you a little bit more. He needs more help. But yeah, this is an all-time performance from Tonje. Absolutely incredible. Broke their back. Came up with big moments. There's nothing else you can say. We do got to take a quick break. Come back. I want to talk about John Blackwell. I thought it was a bit of a weird game for him, and then we have 24 your comments starred with more popping in all the time. Rajiv, let me know if there's any other comments. Start a couple more if you want to get a couple more there. I definitely want to get y'all's comments in on this show. But let's take a quick break for our friends of the show. Come back and talk a little bit about John Blackwell. Today's episode also brought to you by our great friends over at Monarch Money. Again, this is an app made for me. They act as my personal financial assistant. They have a control board that brings everything into one spot where I get full visibility. I get full control over my finances. My wife likes that too. My wife likes that there's a little more control over my finances because I'm this shocking to probably to nobody. I'm the spender in the group and she's the saver. So this is going to help me, be a little bit of a better husband, a better financial guy. And Monarch Money is incredible for that. Surprising insights like that lets me know how much I'm spending on eating out. It's really simple to use. It helps me take control of my finances over at Monarch Money. If you use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com, you get 50% off your first year. It is a complete financial command center. Track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for 50% off your first year. You will not regret it. All right, let's come back into this, finish this show off. And again, thank you for being here. We got 610 of you in right now, which is incredible. And y'all are amazing. And y'all are what makes this community the best. I think the best. I'm obviously biased, but the best Badger community on the internet, or one of them at least. There's a lot of great ones. Let's talk JB really quick. He made a couple huge plays down the stretch, right? That end one. There were moments, man, where you got to make layups. If you're the second best player on the team, you got to make layups. That fast break layup where he got blocked. I love JB. And it was a goaltend. He should never have gotten to the point of being a goaltend. I don't feel like he worked. Like that's you got to finish that play, bro. And then a layup in the second half that led to a Michigan State 3 that he missed, a turnover down the end where he just kind of dribbled the ball out of bounds against a big. I'm not expecting him to be perfect. Every player is going to miss some shots and have some turnovers. But if you're the number 2 on this team, you need more from Blackwell because of how good he is, in my opinion.
Yeah, Blackwell is basically surviving off the talent that he has, which is great. But it's to me, it's the mentality, it's the headiness that he sometimes lacks in certain situations. He gets too flustered at times, and he makes a bad play. That's certainly the lazy dunk that you mentioned. And there were other turnovers that he drove in the lane and just kind of lost it. Like there's just times where he seems like he just doesn't lock in mentally. And that's the difference between him and Tonje, because Tonje doesn't have that, right? Tonje locks in. Crowl locks in mentally too. And the other guys, if Blackwell could just settle up here, like they always say, 90% of sports is from the neck up, right? Like he's got to lock in mentally, and you can see it. You can literally see the fact that, like, he kind of drops his head a little bit. He gets upset. He's the push-offs that he do. He just needs to be cleaner, because this man has so much potential. And we are going to need that in March. And I really hope that this is the coaching. This is like a coachable moment for him. I really hope Gard sits with him, and the assistant coaches like really sit down with him and explain to him, like, it's all about locking in mentally. And if he can do that, and then you couple that with the talent that he has, you've got a ready-made guy, right? It's incredible. He has it in him. He's just got to find a way to lock in. I'm not sure if it's like the fatigue of the season hitting him, or maybe it's like, he obviously had a big jump, right, this year. Maybe it was a little bit of, overconfidence. I don't know what it is with him, but there is something, and it's got to get rectified.
And it's also worth pointing out, and neither of us are out on, like, the guy's a sophomore. He's a true sophomore. He's great. He's great. It's just there's another level there, and that's what we're searching for. And if he hits that other level with the way Tonje's playing, it's cleaning up a few of those inconsistencies. He's really good. Listen to this stat here from Trevor. This is a great stat. Thank you, Trevor. Tonje is the first player with a 30-point game and 3 wins over AP top 10 teams in a single season since UConn's Kemba Walker. Let's go. Great stat, Trevor. Tons of great comments in here. I want to definitely try to get some of these. Ryan Bliss, where are the Fire Guard crowd? Listen, I'm not dancing on anybody's grave. Every opinion's welcome. But, like, we admit when we're wrong all the time, right? I literally started the show saying, I am sorry, Carter Gilmore. I do think there needs to be some people who have been so hard on Greg Gard saying, okay, what a good year. Good job, coach. I think that is deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah. I got a couple comments I want to put up here. One from Tyler Strieber, and we haven't talked about him yet today. Amos had that one nice drive too, that had my jaw on the floor. And again, it's like players have to do things that are maybe outside of their norms. And Amos was another one today. Like, that was a huge play. So athletic. We talk about his athleticism all the time. What a great play, man. David Gross says, Rajiv, were you celebrating tonight? Also a Vegas resident. David, love that. I'm not. My daughter is sick, so I'll be at home. But I was out at Red Rock last night.
Let me hit on the Amos thing. I wrote that down, actually.
Only
played 7 minutes. I felt one of the notes I actually had, and thank you, Tyler, for bringing up Amos, because otherwise it might have gone unnoticed. I felt like he should have gotten a little burn today. I really feel like he played great yesterday and had a really nice drive. Like, I don't know, man. I think you let him build. If he's playing well, build him up a little bit. I would have liked more than 7 minutes from Amos today, especially in a game where Winter got in foul trouble. That was a little surprising to me. I want to give a shout out to Greg Gard right before half, switching to a 1-3-1. Those are the little adjustments. You can steal a possession, and you can tell Michigan State was discombobulated by it. They got the ball to the elbow. They didn't want to shoot it. They drove in. They got trapped in the coffin corner a little bit. I like those little things from Greg Gard. It just continues to show the evolution, because 5 years ago that was never happening. I like this one here from Kate Jensen. Finding a way to win when we're 9-29 from 3 is huge. I would say 9-29 from 3 actually isn't that bad against Michigan State to start there. But
31%. We remember this was the game we were 15% from 3 when we played them, and so we up to 31. Which again, that's okay. Like we're not going to be 60% like yesterday, but I think for the most part we did shoot okay against them. But yeah, I mean, look, if we would have had a day like yesterday, we would have smoked them. So that happens.
Rajiv, a few more comments to finish this off, and then we're going to get everybody out here because it is a weekend. Isaiah said, Tonje, best guard since Devin Harrison. It isn't close. Thoughts? First of all, before we even answer this question, I would say the fact that we're having this discussion tells you how unbelievable John Tonje has been.
I mean, I think he's definitely part of that discussion, right? Like he is. And we've gone back and forth a couple times about, like, John Tonje or Johnny Davis, but he's in that discussion. So that's where I leave it. I would have to really think about, like, is he the best part guard since Devin Harris? Devin Harris, though, like since Devin Harris, yes, maybe, but it's the fact you're right. He's in that discussion for sure. What an unbelievable player, man. We are so lucky to have him, dude. So lucky.
I'll throw Jordan Taylor in that discussion as well. 2-time All-American. Definitely a guy that would be in that discussion.
I wanted to bring up, while we're kind of wrapping up here, we haven't talked about Max today. And I think that, like, he continues to be a really important part of the team. Now, he didn't have a great game on the stat sheet, but do you guys notice, like, in those huddles right after fouls, who's the one talking a lot of time? It's Max Klesman. He's a leader on that floor, man. He's a leader on the floor. And that is a very, like, it will show up nowhere on any stat sheet, but you can see it every time they're in those huddles. Like, he's talking to the guys. And I just feel like we need to give him credit for that, right? And I think Max is like, again, on the stat sheet, nothing crazy today, but those little plays, they matter. And when you get into March and you're in those tight games, you need guys that have veteran leadership, veteran experience like a Max Klesman. So all around, not great, but from a leadership perspective, he clearly is making a difference.
Yeah, Hunter Milky said, Milko? Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. I completely butchered that. And the more I tried it, the worse I got. Said, was it really Klesman all along? You know what Klesman is, dude? Klesman is that guy, if you're going to go have a scrap with somebody, he's not the biggest guy, but you just want him in the car. You want him with you when you're in some danger. And Nolan Winter talked about that yesterday. He said, I don't remember the exact quote. I had it written down for yesterday's show, but he talked about it's so different with Max on the floor. He said the veteran leadership, but he also said the physical leadership. And you see that in points in the game where he's just in the middle of the paint. He's like fighting for something, like he just gives him so much swagger on this team. I want to make sure we get this question in here because I think this is an important one. This is from Baron Von Trout. Any chance we get a 2 seed if we win tomorrow? I think we locked up the 3 seed.
Yeah, the answer to me is no. I don't think we get the 2. However, had we not lost to Penn State, we probably would have. But that Penn State, actually, it was not a bad loss for the committee. I didn't realize that until yesterday. So I guess there's a chance that we get the 2, but I think we're pretty much locked into the 3. And I will say this, in looking back at other years, like the committee, unless generally speaking, and this is not like a full knowledge, generally speaking, unless there is like someone's going to enter the tournament by winning that game, they generally, especially because the Big Ten championship game is the last game before the selection show. It literally happens right before the selection show. They generally have it locked down already. And unless it's like a situation where it's like a Northwestern who is going to make it there and potentially get in, they have like a Northwestern / someone else. I don't think the results of tomorrow makes any difference on the seed. Thus, I think we're locked in at the 3.
Yeah, I think so too. Jake does mention the Amos minutes would take away from Gilly, who played really well today. That's a fair point as well. Very, very fair point. Gilmore was great today. All right, we're going to wrap it up there, y'all. On Wisconsin. Let's go. This is such a fun team. And I don't have to tell you that. Y'all saw it. On Wisconsin, they beat Michigan State. Rajiv, any last thought here?
The revenge tour can continue tomorrow, by the way, right? We lost to Maryland and Michigan. We need both of those, like beat UCLA, let's get it done tomorrow, man. And you know what? Even if we don't, what a great game. This is a great way to end the season. Even if we lose tomorrow, it's okay. We're ready for the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely love it. When you're done here, go check out the Locked On Big Ten podcast. All the biggest Big Ten conference stories are over there. But yeah, enjoy this one. Have an incredible rest of the weekend. On Wisconsin, thank you for joining us, whether you're in the live or you're doing on YouTube later or you're in the pod, listening in the car, whatever it is. Enjoy this one. Appreciate the heck out of you. Greg Linscomb, absolutely one of the old great friends of the show, says, great to see 600 people in the chat. Absolutely. That's humbling and incredible because you could be doing a lot of things with your time and you chose to spend that here with us. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. On Wisconsin, and we will talk later.